One of the biggest things that we NASCAR fans can get for memorabilia of our drivers are NASCAR diecasts. But in the last couple of days, and I'd argue even further back, we've, I think, as NASCAR fans, been on the struggle bus with a lot of that. And I want to talk about this after the news I saw from Adam Stern kicking off here, saying after the additional U.S. tariffs announced this week or last week as of this tweet, on imports from China, Lionel Racing has started informing wholesale customers like NASCAR teams of additional price increases. For 124 scale standard race win diecast, a suggested retail price will go from $85 to $99.95, or just practically $100. And I understand why people are upset at this. And I'm not going to make a big political thing about it because we're strictly talking about the diecast and the state of this side of collecting, of fandom, of you name it. And I know a lot of people are already out. It started already with Denny Hamlin's race win diecast. And in my opinion, the prices are probably only going to increase further from here. And with this, a lot of people are out. They're just saying, you know what, I can't afford it. I don't want to spend $100, $125, $150 on stuff that did not cost anywhere near this, say a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you name it. And a lot of people are saying that this is that big hit on NASCAR diecast collecting. And to me, I think that this is more of a knockout blow rather than the sole cause for concern, because I have really sat on the sidelines watching this for a while and sort of watched as people have had their complaints or been upset when it comes to NASCAR diecast, when it comes to Lionel, when it comes to the way that everything is going, all of it put together. And in my opinion, this isn't even really the main issue. To me, there's a couple big things that are issues. Exclusivity is a big one that I think has been more of a root cause. Quality control issues, I think, has been a big cause. And also just the decline overall of NASCAR as an entity has been a big cause for a lot of this. And you look at, for instance, the quality side of it. A lot of people, luckily not myself in this department, but a lot of people I've seen on social media have talked about misprints, have talked about different problems, about pieces completely missing from their die casts. And that's inexcusable, especially when it comes to the misprints and things like that. The quality as well, you can tell that a lot of what is given as standard issue or elite is more of a cheaper quality to it. You see a lot of people when they compare to the past, and we will compare some of these in a bit. And it is pretty clear the decline we've seen in that quality issue of it. The exclusivity side of it has been something really since 2011, when Lionel had kind of replaced racing and motorsport authentics. Of course, you had local retail chains that would sell 164s that made them separately, but for the most part, since 2011, Lionel Diecast has had the exclusivity rights. And in a lot of ways, to me, this mirrors the way that video games, both for NASCAR and in general, have gone in quality and production. When you get exclusivity titles, there's not that competition, there's not that push to be able to more or less improve upon the competition and themselves. And I think that's something that's probably not going away. Exclusivity deals generally bring in the sport and sport entities, whether it be with video games, diecast, jerseys, you name it, more money just because it's coming from one singular location. You got to funnel it in. And I think that that's going to be something really, really hard to mess with. And of course, the popularity decline has been well documented over the years for NASCAR. Ever since 2005, when NASCAR was completely at its peak, it hasn't been completely straight line down. It's sort of been back and forth. It's been more like you go down, then up, down, then up, down, then up, down, then up. And it's generally, though, in that downward direction. The amount of NASCAR fans we have today compared to 10 to 20 years ago is about 50 to 25%, depending on any given year you look at in that department. So when there's less people buying, there's less incentive to put out more products, put out better products. You just sort of have people that say, well, we get what we get and we'll be happy with it. And that's just not the way to go about it. So I have 3 examples that I kind of want to share today of the way that the diecasts have went down with the times. The first one, I will admit, is an elite scale. It's the only one that I do have today that is elite scale, but it is Jeff Gordon's 2005 Daytona 500 victory car. And with this one, you can see the bright colors, all of that. If you look at it in face value on a camera with plenty of lights on it, you can tell that this is, a normal stock car, right? But then you look at some of the other things with this car that set it apart. You have a lot of detail, for instance, back here. You have plenty of detail towards the front as well. If I can get the hood open, plenty of detail. And you have dirt marks all over it, tape, you name it. This is top of the line for the most part with the race win. There's others that come with tethers from the time, and I do have some of those from Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr. But in general, this was a top of the line diecast. You're not going to see, for the most part, this quality on a diecast car anymore. The next one I got is from 2011. This is Carl Edwards' 2011 car. This is not one that is in any way elite. It is a normal diecast that they had for the time, and you can definitely tell that there is a lot of detail put in. For instance, the hood goes all the way back. There's a lot of detail you can see with the engine that they've made. There's just detail in general with this one. This is what I think most diecast collectors, especially ones like myself who have been around the block for a couple decades now, this is what we expect. We expect Carl Edwards 2011 diecast that I have, we expect detail in it. 10 years later, we have Alex Bowman's Nashville 2021 diecast. And with this, you can't open up the deck lid. The hood does open up a little bit, but I can't shake it open immediately. I have to finagle my finger through here to open it. And even then, the detail of it is, well, if you can barely see it because the hood barely opens up, it's nowhere near to the level that the other ones were. You have just a lot of more plastic on the bottom compared to the old one. I mean, you can just see the difference between them, even with the glare. You can see the difference between these. It's clear as day that the quality has went down. And when you look at the elite diecasts, now elite diecasts and race wins at best are this quality, but you're paying more money for it. So there's so many of these problems that I look at, and I'm not some avid diecast collector who buys them in the waves that come out, that follows the orders and things like that, because I just like to get the cars that I see that I like, whether it's at the racetrack, at a vendor tent, at the local store that I used to go to out in Rockford, Illinois. Doesn't matter. I want to go and just sort of pick out the ones that I like. If my favorite driver, and I was lucky enough to be a fan of Dale Earnhardt Jr., had one out and they never got canceled, obviously, I would pick them up. But now that's another problem. Because of the lack of quality, because of the lack of fans and buyers, there's not enough people to buy a lot of these different diecasts. And because of that, you're seeing the big problem where you get plenty of them canceled. Why would I waste my money nowadays? Why would I put $100 to $150 into something that's nowhere as good as this, that was maybe half the price when I got it at the time? Why would I put my money into that? I got to get stuff to eat. I got to pay rent. I got to buy stuff for my kid on the way. Why would I buy that much, put that much money invested into it if I'm not an avid collector, and if I don't even know if I'll ever get it and then it gets returned later? I'll just rather keep that money in the here and now. Again, this is very much like the video game market, and it's going to be a little while before we see what the full effects of the tariffs and the added price are. But it does feel like video games in the sense that for a decade or so, with the declining popularity of NASCAR, the diecast declined as well, just like the video games did. And all it needed was a knockout blow. And we might find out a year or two from now that the tariffs and the price increases because of everything being made in China is equivalent to a NASCAR 21 ignition. And we're all at that point going to be suffering and struggling from it. I love NASCAR diecasts. I love buying them, but I'm not going to pay a bunch of money for something that is the equivalent of a toy that my parents would give me in 2005 when I was 7, that I could just throw against the wall and nothing would happen. I could probably throw this car against a wall and maybe a piece or two would fly off. It'd be dented for sure, but it would probably be more or less put together because, well, because it's just giant hunks of plastic. If I threw this one, or especially this one against the wall, those two would probably explode into 100 pieces. And that's kind of the point. If you're not giving me, the customer, an incentive to buy, why in the world would anyone think that I'm going to spend more money on it? And I know it sounds crazy, but if we end up where we don't have diecast being made on a regular basis anymore, this path was easily traceable back to watch it. What's the solution? What's the fix? I don't think there's a singular fix at this point. We could definitely have Lionel make these more in America again. And I think that that would help, at least with the tariff part of it. But American made products generally do cost more because they're generally better than Chinese made products. You could maybe have it where you don't have an exclusive licensing deal, but at that point, then if you lose one or two of them and you don't have something put in place, or if somebody doesn't want to come to play like Lionel probably wouldn't without the exclusive license, well, then at that point, you're kind of just out of luck. So I don't know what the fix is to it. They could make higher quality ones, but that would, I guarantee, cost an arm and a leg more. And do people really want to spend $200, $300, $400 for something like this? I mean, look at how NFL jerseys, how much they cost at the top level. Do we really want to pay that for our diecasts? I don't see a real easy way out, but I want to know from you, what do you think? Are you more or less inclined to buy diecasts, and what fixes do you think could be done? I'm sure there's people out there that'll watch and listen, and that's fully what this is meant to do. So let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like in this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support, and until next time, have a good one.